Hello and welcome to the GatorEX podcast. This is going to be a podcast that happens every 2 weeks where it's going to be me along with a guest or two or three. The cast rotates every so often. I stay the same because it's my channel, not to sound like weird or anything. But that's basically how it's going to work. Today I'm joined by my guest Nurtz here.
Hello.
So, yeah, I run I have a Pokemon channel, but this podcast isn't always going to be about Pokemon because... not that I get tired of talking about it, but I'm interested in other things.
Right.
What about you? Okay, let's start. I guess that off. What's your Pokemon experience?
My Pokemon experience has actually been a variety of just different things. Because what was it? Growing up as a kid, I had the old Game Boy Color versions of things, as well as just the original Game Boy games, such as you got Pokemon Red, Blue, Silver, Yellow. Going into more stuff to when I was, I guess, in middle school, elementary, somewhere around there, was Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Followed by, once when I got my very first DS, you had Diamond and Pearl, and that's kind of where I kind of stopped, just because yeah, things kind of cost a lot of money, especially when Pokemon's getting more and more new.
Yeah, and then now, especially since we already have the Switch, which the Switch is like 300 already. But I mean, it's got other games, this and that. It's got
Yeah, it's true.
but still, so it's a high point of entry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that whole playing up until Generation 4 of Pokemon, that's somewhat typical among other people I've talked to. I get not that I make fun of the whole thing of I played Pokemon once as a kid. It was fun. I hate Pokemon now. They're making too many. But I think playing up to Generation 4 or even up to Generation 3, you've experienced a good amount of more than half, definitely, up to Generation 4.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the cool things, because they managed to kind of keep it really fresh when it came to just certain generations of Pokemon. Where they lost me was after Diamond and Pearl, just because some of the names got a little bit ridiculous and people started to show me some of the Pokemon. You've actually showed me some, and right before this cast you showed me one, and I still think it's just absolutely ridiculous of just what this thing looks like.
Oh yeah, for the reference, it was Meltan, the 801st Pokemon, which he's an interesting dude. I mean, I think it looks. I love the design just because it's hilariously weird and dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I gravitate towards those ones. Obviously, my favorite Pokemon though is a legitimate one, Totodile.
Oh yeah, Totodile was actually. What the really funny thing about that is people are actually very biased when it comes to that generation of Pokemon in that area of the game, just because I think Totodile, if you did everything in a certain, I guess, order along those lines, you get into a certain level, get him to his full evolution, and then you start buffing him up, and he's just impossible to take down.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely with the back then the old games, because I played through a Crystal version over the summer, during a road trip, and yeah, I'm always reminded those old games are well, they're old, they didn't anticipate, or they didn't exactly have all the polish, obviously visually, and they look great, I think, and by that time they kind of had Pokemon figured out. But at the same time, it's it requires just a lot of grinding for your Pokemon to get any good moves.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I remembered about a lot of those. And that was also back in the day of people are constantly saying don't play too many handheld video games or else you're gonna lose your sight. It's gonna hurt your eyes.
Oh no, with the old ones with no backlight, definitely. I think you could strain your eyes. Oh yeah, but as far as favorite Pokemon, I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Oh, that's a tough question.
Or even just 5 that you really like.
Oh, there's one that I really liked. And I'm trying to like stay like unbiased towards like legendaries because everybody loves a legendary.
Oh no, no, those are legitimate Pokemon.
Yeah, but I mean, just everybody goes for a legendary. For me, um, I'd probably have to say like Steelix.
Ooh.
Just because, most people don't really choose those Pokemon in general. Just what people call like, oh, they're just part of your team. But like, if you have a Steelix, you know how hard it is to get a Steelix in that game.
Yeah, because was it you need the so you have to trade with someone, right? Because the metal coat.
Yeah, it was. You had to have an Onyx holding a Steel Coat, and then once when it got traded, it would evolve into a Steelix. But the thing is, with Steelix, what I did, which was what most people call unfair or really dumb, and you're not supposed to do this because it's not legit, was I buffed it out to where I was like, okay, I'm gonna max out your special attack, your special defense, your attack, your speed, whatever, to where you could hit me with a super effective attack and it would only take away like 2 hit points.
What does Steelix need special attack for?
I don't know, just in case.
Hyper, or wait, or no? Well, which one was that? Because like, or no, special. I can't. Like Generation 4. Well, because like special used to be just one stat. Special defense and attack used to be one stat together.
Well, I mean, there was what's a good example? Like like Blaziken and like Charizard. Um, if you used one of their like super big like epic attacks that you would get like way late in the game, um, it would take away from their special attack. It was like a something like Fire Outburst or something like that. I know with like Charizard, it was like Blast Burn.
Well, what is it? Blast burn. It like you can't move the next turn.
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
recharge, but like sometimes what I experienced was like a drop in attack or special attack. No, it was a Blaziken. That's what it was when you used overheat.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, because yeah, in Ruby Sapphire they just give you overheat.
Yeah, overheat was like super awesome when you first used it. You're like, oh yeah, this is epic. I just got you in one shot, and then the next one came up. I'm gonna use it again because spamming.
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah, no, like playing. Well, because what when did I played through playing those games like when you're like what 7, or like younger, or so, and then you're like,
Yeah,
oh, press like you think you get that attack that you think is just a win button.
yeah. What I always tried to do was most times when you first play it, like your very first time, it's fresh out of the box. You've never played the game before, and you just try to go straight through, and it doesn't work. And then that's when you start experiencing that grind. And what I always end up doing is like, all right, I'm gonna get, let's see, my Pokemon to about 25 levels over the ideal before I go to this next step. It's so much for me. It's so much fun because just like, all right, this is how I'm going to speed run. Even though I didn't really speed run through this grind, it was more of like
Yeah,
I'm just going to annihilate a gym in 3 minutes.
it's more like this shouldn't take long or anything.
Yeah,
Oh. So after this obvious edit, which maybe it wasn't that obvious and I just ruined everything. Uh, so what'd you play like besides Pokemon growing up?
I played actually a lot of different video games, which I'm like super surprised that I got away with it. Um, I played various games like Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2, Spyro the Dragon, Spyro Ripto's Rage, Spyro Year of the Dragon, basically the trilogy of Spyro games. Lots and lots of Game Boy games, not just like the regular game Nintendo Game Boy, but like Game Boy Color games to Game Boy Advance games to DS games to playing the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PS3, the GameCube, playing the Nintendo Wii, playing a Wii U for a little bit, playing the original Xbox, Xbox 360. Now I have an Xbox One, to where now I'm like doing both of I'm playing PC games and going back to those good old retro games that I still have from since I was a kid, and I'm surprised that they still work.
Uh,
Prime example that I love to play right now. It's kind of a puzzle game, and you can't really call a game this much anymore. Is called Bombing Islands.
oh, yeah, no, that doesn't sound.
No,
Well, I mean,
it's
well, not like not that it sounds like bad, but
yeah, and it's really funny because like the whole premise is basically arrange these bombs in a way so that way you can blow up this entire island around you, but you're on this one tile, and if you're just on that one tile, you succeed. It's not like, oh, I blew a big chunk of it and I survived. It's more like, no, you got to blow up everything but yourself.
okay.
Yeah, and you want to know the funniest thing? Who the main character is?
Who is it?
It's this little clown. It's like a little jester guy.
I don't know what it is, like the whole thing with like clowns and bombs, but that seems like a what's the word, like a common. I don't know, because I've seen it like more than once, like clowns with bombs or something.
I think it's just like a matter of, I guess, like comedic trend. I guess maybe it's like an old like gag. Because like the whole story behind this little clown is very, very simple. He just basically is in a little house in the middle of this small looking town slash trail, and a mailman basically walks up to his house, rings his doorbell, and basically has this little envelope slash map left at his doorstep. And he just picks it up and looks at it, looks up, and the mailman is just booking it away from his house.
I don't know, because I've seen it like more than once, like clowns with bombs or something.
I think it's just like a matter of, I guess, like comedic trend. I guess maybe it's like an old like gag. Because like the whole story behind this little clown is very, very simple. He just basically is in a little house in the middle of this small looking town slash trail, and a mailman basically walks up to his house, rings his doorbell, and basically has this little envelope slash map left at his doorstep. And he just picks it up and looks at it, looks up, and the mailman is just booking it away from his house. That's when your adventure starts.
And then that letter was a smash invite.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and like I just recently started playing that game again just because I bought that game for my dad, which is really funny. Because he actually used to play the game all the time to when we got it when I was a kid. And, me being the kid who loved to play video games and spend a lot of time, just playing them.
Yeah.
This one game, Bombing Islands, I never got very far in. But my father ended up getting about 10 times as far as I did.
Okay. So it's just like the whole like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever experienced much like that.
Yeah, for me, it's just I like to experience just a variety of stuff. And that's not just like with video games, it's like with stuff in life in general. Just I'm what you call the everything guy.
Mm-hmm.
Where like let's put it into the context of video games. One of my things that I really like to do, if I get the choice of playing a game that's let's say like Skyrim, let's just keep it like a very general sense like that. Skyrim was just a lot of fun for me, and I still play it every here and there, where when I create my own character, I like to get as many stats from each little perk tree as I can, because that means I'm the most powerful person ever, even though everything's going to be at a very average level because I have, just enough stats to have everything.
I've like, as far as video games, I've always played Nintendo. Like, I had a PlayStation 2 growing up, but I never like played a whole lot for it. What did I even have for it? Had like Crash Tag Team Racing. Then I played like the two Legend of Spyro games, the first two. Shoot, what even else did I even have for the PlayStation 2?
Did you
Uh,
have Kingdom Hearts?
no, I didn't. But I like okay with all right, Kingdom Hearts, and that's a whole thing. I think by the time like now, like by the time this is public, Kingdom Hearts 3 will be out. Like okay, Kingdom Hearts, I always thought looked cool, right? It seemed neat, and I played. Okay. Here's the problem with Kingdom Hearts though, is that like, oh yeah, this is Kingdom Hearts 3, the third game that's coming out, and it's been consistent in that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 were on the PlayStation 2, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out on the PlayStation 4, right? But like every other game is apparently important to the story, and they came out on a bunch of different things. There's like one on the 3DS, there's one on the DS, there was one on the Game Boy Advance, one on the like the PlayStation, and mobile games, and apparently it all matters. Which I haven't even dived like deep into this lore, but I don't like this lore. But point
You
is,
actually missed one. I think wasn't there also one for the PSP?
yeah. Or there's like the prequel or something.
I think
Like
I'm not quite sure.
like I have vague knowledge of it, but because I've stumbled across some of those like, oh, the full lore of Kingdom Hearts explained. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got 30 minutes.
Yeah, I've actually come across those. Like, I actually went in to do like some research on Kingdom Hearts a while back. It was probably like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and it was just the funniest thing because I started seeing more and more people putting up walkthroughs and little fun things you can do with Kingdom Hearts onto YouTube. But I was starting to see a bunch of these little clips from different Kingdom Hearts games that I've never ever played, and I started doing research. I went up on Google because that's a really trusted source apparently.
Yeah.
And I got like the whole like timeline of Kingdom Hearts, where it's just like the chronological order of the game lore, I guess, the story chronologically, not just like when games came out, but just the storyline of it. And still didn't make sense to me after that.
Oh yeah. But point is, because I'm the Nintendo person, well, not the big Nintendo. I haven't even played Odyssey, but so I played the Game Boy Advanced Kingdom Hearts. Because I remember, when I was younger, just seeing Kingdom Hearts, I'm like, wow, that's a pretty cool idea, Disney and this and that. And I was at a GameStop, and of course, when I was playing, that was when I was playing my Game Boy Advance more than anything, and I saw, wow, there's a Kingdom Hearts game on the Game Boy Advance, and so I played there was Rechain of Memories, I think, or Chain of some involving a chain and a memory.
Yeah, that's Chain of Memories.
Okay.
I actually hated playing that one.
I thought it was cool, card based combat.
No, I hated it. It was just like I kept on doing things wrong, and I kept on running out of cards, and then I ended up getting my butt beat 11 times over.
Yeah, it was interesting. And then I played the 358 Days Over 2 on the DS. First of all, that's a terrible title. but and again, like I was totally lost because the whole point of it was that you play as Roxas, who Roxas is, he's Sora's nobody, because when Sora's I forget, this like during the events of something, I don't know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kingdom Hearts people.
Yeah, so basically, Roxas is Sora's nobody. How nobodies came to be was basically if somebody who had a heart became a heartless by either having their heart stolen or the person was killed in some way, shape, or another by a heartless or somebody who's controlling heartless, then they would take the hearts of those, depending whether they were weak or extremely strong, and they would become a nobody. And nobodies, basically, they don't have anything. They don't have a soul. They don't have a heart. Nothing. They basically are what they call themselves, nobodies. They apparently, technically, don't exist, but at the same time, why are you here talking to me face to face?
Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting. It's weird. Well, then again, other things have like even weirder or crazier lore or stories. But I don't know. Kingdom Hearts, I could never really. Okay, most of my consumption through Kingdom Hearts has been through just YouTube videos, I suppose.
Yeah. My consumption was I played through video games, and it was just the most. I had the best experience with the first game, and I think that's like with a lot of different people. Is if you play the first game, you got super duper intrigued on what was going to happen
Yeah, yeah,
after you completed it, and made you look forward to like, oh man, is there going to be another game? And that's when you started to see all of the in between prequel, sequel, whatever it is games that they came out with before Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. And for me, it was just like there's Kingdom Hearts and there's Kingdom Hearts 2. And after I played Kingdom Hearts 2, that's when I first heard about all of these other Kingdom Hearts games that there were, and I was like, what in the world? That doesn't make sense. These are like probably like made by completely different companies and they won't make sense at all. And to find out, no, it's the same people who made numbers 1 and 2. And that's when I started learning all the different lore and story of just Kingdom Hearts as a whole. And there's some parts to where it's like, oh wow, that's really cool, and then there's some other areas of it I'm like, oh, that doesn't make sense to me.
but then again, like here I am, not trash talking Kingdom Hearts, but just saying, oh, the lore's weird. When like I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm already terrible. Well, because I have no like actual projects out there. I have stuff in the works, obviously, but I've already set in mind that like it's all connected. It's all in the same timeline, just at different points.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You know how long like that same conversation has been going on just between like people who play Kingdom Hearts and go through the lore? That's been like a continuous conversation for like ever.
exactly. And then this new game is gonna have a lot to it.
Yeah, and it's actually gonna have all I know right now is it's gonna have like Toy Story is gonna be a world, which
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think is absolutely hilarious.
yeah. A lot of that was one of the main things they were showing off, like at like the two Pixar ones, Toy Story and then Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which uh Monsters Inc. Goofy is hilarious. I love it.
Oh wait, they actually changed how Donald and Goofy look.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they had like they were having different versions of them, like based on the world.
interesting.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. Goofy, because he's okay, yeah, that thing where like you have, or not you have, but a character has like eye stalks. I guess is that the phrase where like they have eyeballs, but then there's like a thing, like a tube, basically.
You mean like the antenna eyes? Is that
Uh,
what you mean?
yeah, something like that. Like who has eyes like that? Like oh no, it's amazing. Like Goofy. Okay, Goofy is a gem on his own.
Yeah, I actually love Goofy just because everybody, they think like Goofy's like the biggest idiot in the world, and like he's actually probably like the most perceptive and most smart character in Kingdom Hearts. Even though I do not like what they did in Kingdom Hearts 2, because like me being the video game kid that I was playing it, um, got to the one part, spoilers,
Wii U, Wii U.
where you're basically saving the day in Hollow Bastion just because it's overrun with like nobodies and heartless, and there's like a part where heartless and nobodies are fighting on a cliff, and there's an explosion that happens, and a big boulder comes rocketing towards Mickey Mouse, and Goofy basically pushes him out of the way and gets this boulder straight to his face and knocks his head into a stone wall. And then it makes you think like Goofy is dead, and you're like, no, Goofy was like my favorite, even though he wasn't. But yeah, he's dead. No. And then later on, he basically comes back going, "Hey, you guys left me behind."
Of course, you guys left me behind there. Like when some piece of media does something good with Goofy, that's always like pretty neat.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
like
looking at this Goofy that you just sent me. Like mid, like literally, like while I was talking, I almost started busting up laughing because this guy looks hilarious.
exactly. It's okay. Like I said, Goofy's a gem on his own, but the monsters ain't Goofy. Ah, I'm okay. Well, again, like I don't know, more like with how the back to like how the podcast is gonna maybe work. What I'd love to do, and because I'm like being very prepared in how frequently I record and how far in advance I'm gonna be recording this, I want to try and draw like an image for the thumbnail,
Uh-huh.
and I'm really tempted to just have it be like something incorporating the Kingdom Hearts Goofy. If it isn't, I'm gonna be like, it probably will. It probably will be.
Because this thing that you just sent me, just what he looks like. What is it? He's got like a leather vest on too. Like, what in the world is this?
It's not. Oh, I just realized since his skin is green, his hat is yellow,
Yeah.
and he's got the two different colored eyes.
What the heck? He's got like tendrils on like the back of his neck.
That's well, because he's I
Like
don't know
blue tendrils on the back of his
because
neck.
he's like almost reptilian, maybe. Oh shoot, I didn't. His nose is pointy.
What in the world, dude?
Oh no, man. This is a no. Like just use it as a reaction image when someone explains Kingdom Hearts lore to me. But I don't know a lot like with the whole like thumbnail thing. Yeah, there'll be something at least to motivate me to draw, I suppose. Because I mean, that's because like for reference, everyone listening, like I don't know, that's something the two of us have been talking about often. Just like, well, not often, but recently with drawing. And I don't know, I almost feel not put to shame, like because whenever Nerd sends me something that he's drawn, I'm like, well, no, well, because the other day you just sent like what four things that you drew.
Yeah, I sent you like quite a few things. I'm like scrolling through here. I got like the clown that I sent you, my weird dinosaur dragon type thing, a very simple sketched out bird. One of my favorites was this one piece of art that I did was remembering what Madness Interactive, if people even remember what that game was. It was like something that was on, I think it was on like Newgrounds to start, and then it had like its own like little website that you could go to. And yeah, I got little that guy, and my my little gamer tag thing, sticker face profile thing
Yeah.
is my little version of what's supposed to be a derpy Link, but I call him Lunk because he just looks absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And you want to know the really funny thing about this is it took me, I think, 35 to 40 minutes just to get it like drawn in a way that I actually would have liked it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then like coloring it in and shading took like another 25 minutes. And then like I've got, oh yeah, Mackie Merce. Yeah,
Mackie Merce.
Mackie Merce is like this little like basic sketched out Mickey Mouse type Looney Tune looking dude with like only wearing one shoe.
Which that's
And then there's like
that's
another
a Kingdom
bird
Hearts
and
spoiler,
another
too.
Yeah. That'd be so funny.
You just find
It's
that.
just like we're going to a new world. It's called the Sketch World. Yo, that would be actually really interesting, like an Etch a Sketch world.
Oh, there was there's an Etch a Sketch in Toy Story.
Yeah,
Just, like,
that
friggin' Blue Skidoo into that, and then it's a Etch a Sketch world.
would be I don't know if they would do that because
Well,
that would be
no.
because that would be like incorporating just really quick note, that was a really nice reference, Blue Skidoo. That was
Yes,
great.
exactly. I'm gonna Blue Skidoo into an anime.
But at the same time though, if you do that in the game, you're kind of incorporating something that was it Super Mario 64 did, which was like jumping into paintings.
Oh yeah. Which one
So
did-
like that would be the only time when they really did that in like Kingdom Hearts 2 was when they did they jumped to the past to where everything was in black and white, basically into the world of Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, for those who don't know who Steamboat Willie is, it's basically that's how that's how Disney kind of got its start in a way.
yeah. It was
Um,
like the first Mickey Mouse cartoon.
yeah, and it was only like was it sound effects and music? That was all it was. There was no dialogue from the characters except for like noises that they would make. Like Steamboat Willie, basically, um, Steamboat Willie was the captain of a steamboat, and that's how people know who Pete is, because that's pretty much how Pete got his start. It was just Pete and Mickey Mouse on a boat, and Mickey was actually the antagonist in the show, which most people are like, oh, Mickey Mouse is a sweet little guy, and I go, yeah, but he was an antagonist in the starting day.
Huh.
He caused so much havoc on this boat by basically being a mischievous employee, because that's what he was, by basically making noise and music with items and animals, on Willie's boat.
I've actually never watched Steamboat Willie.
Really?
Yeah, no, and again, from being being the cartoon boy, I guess. Well, not the I'm a, but yeah, no, I've actually never sat down to watch Steamboat. Like a bunch of like the really like definitely like the black and white era of like any sort of cartoons. I haven't watched a whole lot of.
Okay.
Like a lot of other classic Disney like the Goofy cartoons, right? Of
Mhm.
course, those are like we said, Goofy's a gem.
Yeah, Goofy's a great gem, especially like when what was it Goof Troop was a really Goof Troop was a great intro. Like like watching the show, you didn't really enjoy watching it. Like in my opinion, I didn't enjoy watching it, but
Hmm.
like just I watched the intro because I just loved the theme music.
I feel okay. A decent amount of conversations with me end up being like, I actually haven't watched so and so. I haven't watched Goof Troop. I haven't watched the Goofy movies. Which I was well, not being. I wasn't berated the other day when I brought up to someone. I'm like, I actually never watched any of the Goofy movies, and here I am talking about Goofy. I'm a poser.
uh, Netflix, YouTube. I mean, I know they're there.
They're on Net. Okay, shoot, I'll watch it on Netflix soon.
I know the extremely goofy movies on Netflix. At least I think it's still there.
Okay, and that's the second one, correct? Because it's a Goofy movie and then an extremely Goofy movie.
Yeah, so you have a Goofy movie, which is like I guess the one where Max kind of is trying to impress a girl by going to a concert. That's a slight spoiler, but that's part of the trailer.
Well, yeah,
Um,
spoiler for like
and
a 20-year-old movie.
there's people who haven't seen it.
Well,
Um,
you're right. I haven't. Okay, fine, fine. You're right. I haven't seen it.
and then there's the extremely goofy movie, and I'm gonna leave that up to you to go watch because
Well,
if I talk about it like at all, it's basically I'm giving you the entire movie.
yeah. Well, I've seen like the basic one. That's where like Max goes to college and then he follows him. There, like Goofy goes to college too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great plot, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can make that a comedy bit.
Exactly.
Max goes to
Well,
school. Goofy too.
well, was it just a bunch of the like, what is it? Coming soon to own on VHS. Those things from like the old VHSs and stuff.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
Exactly. It's exactly that. Though a lot of those are not burned into my mind, but I just remember them because I would rewatch a bunch of VHSs.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, and like back then, because especially if it was going to be coming to like home release, they would give like a whole lot of details of the plot.
Yeah, I mean that was one mistake they made with like a lot of movies, especially when they brought trailers in. It was just you could tell a lot from a movie just by watching its trailer. But now they've people in production and people who make movies now are actually better at um, like hiding the gritty details of some movies.
Oh yeah, and even like just straight up changing footage or just using
Yeah,
footage in a trailer that's not in the movie.
they do. Wait, that's a thing. They like grab footage that's not even in the movie.
Well, because I remember specifically with Infinity War, there were I know specifically like in one scene they changed it to show Thanos having less Infinity Stones than he really did at that point in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the trailer, the scene where all the Avengers are running, the good the cool shot to use at the end of the trailer, that was actually different in the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, so of course that's a whole thing with like reshoots, and then trailers are put out while the movie's still in post production.
Yeah. There was one. There's one movie that I went to go see recently with a friend of mine, and it was the Escape Room. And one of the trailers that I saw while waiting for the movie to start was oh gosh, I forgot what it was. It was a really good trailer though. I'll probably remember probably like 3 days later.
We'll just add it in right now.
Just add in some random trailer.
No, or legitimately, if you remember, I'll straight up take your audio clip and add it right now.
I thought you were gonna say, like, we're just gonna edit in a random trailer. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, no, the whole trailer. The Detective Pikachu movie trailer has just been like one of my favorites recently. It's not,
The Detective Pikachu.
yeah, the movie trailer,
Oh, okay.
which it's not even necessarily a really really good trailer, but it just gives me not feels, but it just gets me really excited. So I'm like, it's really gonna be a theatrical released, big budget Hollywood Pokemon movie.
Yeah, they haven't done this since Pokemon 2000.
Oh yeah, well, some have still been released in theaters here, but like I don't know. Well, this one again, being Hollywood produced and everything. Who's putting out Warner Brothers Legendary?
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. That is interesting. Again, with Warner Brothers back with Pokemon.
Yeah, that's really interesting because they haven't done anything with Pokemon in such a long time.
Yeah, because it was mostly oh, what was it? Again, they were the main well, like for one thing, Kids WB they released that, and then
Yeah.
for the whole thing of like Pikachu appearing in the Osmosis Jones movie. That was because like they had the license to like that was when Warner Brothers was with Pokemon and stuff, and so one of the like animators just like adds Pikachu in the background
I
with
need
one
to
character.
rewatch Osmosis Jones then because I don't remember Pikachu being there.
Yeah, it's like a few second thing. Like they don't point it out. Obviously, they don't say, "Oh, look, it's Pikachu," but there's just like one cell just holding a Pikachu.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, Warner Brothers Legendary that is, and again, like Warner Brothers So that's like a long name, but it's Warner Brothers and Legendary together. But
Gotcha.
like they're also doing like the Godzilla and Kong stuff, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Don't well, actually, okay. For one thing, Warner Brothers and Legendary did the Warcraft movie,
Okay.
so I guess that kind of makes sense for them to adapt another video game movie.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that they should be doing that just because, I mean, Godzilla and King Kong have like already um have already been redone so many
Oh
times.
yeah, although you got to hop on that whole connected movie universe thing.
Yeah, but if you're going to be doing that to redo something that's already been redone and done before and made, I mean, like, because you look at the original Godzilla and the original King Kong movies, and then you see how many times um it's already been done, like redone. Because like you look at the originals, then you see them remastered, then you see them remastered again, and then you see them remastered in an anime format. And then you see people going, okay, now how can we cross them over? And then now they're talking about, redoing them again.
Yeah, and what's funny is like the Godzilla movie came out in 2014, and then like 2 years later, Toho came out. Toho, the studio that owns Godzilla originally in Japan, came out with their own with another with another Godzilla movie. How it's like, oh yeah, the U.S. we're gonna let the U.S. try at Godzilla again, and
That was
then
actually one of the trailers that I saw while waiting for the escape room to start.
oh for
Um,
Godzilla 2.
no, it was actually Godzilla. Was it Godzilla King of the
Yeah,
Monsters
yeah,
or War of the
yeah,
Monsters?
King of the Monsters. Which that yeah, that's the second one, the Godzilla 2.
Yeah, like I remember playing the video game of that. Did you know that there was a video game of
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It's like a is it like well not a fighting game, but you play as the monsters, right?
No, it was a
Or
fighting game.
okay,
Basically, um, like you take like a like Street Fighter, and make it like a 3D version
yeah.
with like highly pixelated 3D models. Um, and you just basically replace any character with just like a Godzilla monster. So like let's say like Godzilla versus Mothra, or like Mecha Godzilla versus Godzilla 2000.
Hmm.
And that's basically every single monster has its own abilities, has its own thing, has its own characteristic about it, and it was just absolutely ridiculous to play because it was, you could totally tell it was a game meant for kids.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, because if you're like a kid who's maybe like, let's say like 8 to 11 years old, what's the one thing that's really cool for boys?
Big monsters.
Monsters,
Yeah.
dragons, demons, and just
How do you?
just all of that.
And it's like, how do you make it cooler? Make them fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, okay, honestly, like that's fun. That's cool. Like, 'cause when I was watching Kong Skull Island, like no, I just had like the biggest stupidest smile on my face during the last scene where he's fighting. Oh, what were those monsters? The skull crawlers.
Oh gosh.
That, and at one point it got a bit was it just a bit brutal. Well, I guess fine because you've been giving spoiler warnings, but like where he grabs the. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, where he grabs the. He ends up grabbing the tongue of one of them and just like pulls it from there and basically kills it like that. Like that's just fun to watch. Just watching big monsters fight. That just big monsters that aren't even real fight.
See, the thing that with like the King Kong movies, was it the one that I watched that I really liked? The one with Jack Black.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
2005. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. 2005. Basically, it was they're being overrun just by these massive, massive creatures, both like giant insects and these man-eating worms, which I absolutely hated. Those things creeped me out because there was a guy in there. Again, spoiler if people have never even seen this movie. And this it's really funny because the reviews on this were so mixed up, and the majority was negative because people didn't think it was all that good. I thought it was hilarious, as well as it had just enough drama to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Where these man-eating worms would basically grab hold of whatever person was nearby, and they just slowly start to devour the person.
I'm not a fan of that.
No, it's one of those things that gives you like goosebumps and like just this just creeped out feeling, like kind of gives you chills. Just really, really not okay because there's one guy who gets like one of those man-eating worms on one arm, and then he gets another one on another arm, and then one just plants onto his head.
Stop. I can't. I can't even talk. I'm just thinking about how much of a no that is.
It's a big no.
And like, oh yeah, it's something you gotta include. Like, I don't know, like the whole giant insects thing, or not, or like giant bugs, insects. Normally, I don't find it weird, but I don't know, like getting eaten by like a lot of them, definitely like that's the big creepy like thing.
Yeah.
Okay, leeches. I'm like I've never been like within 50 feet of a leech or anything, but I'm freaked out by those.
Yeah, you don't want to. I've been exposed to leeches.
Eesh.
They're not that bad. I mean, people kind of like exaggerate them a
Oh
bit,
yeah,
but you don't want them to attach to you. It's not a fun experience.
yeah, because they're small, but like just the thought of something small like that, and then just knowing that it's gonna latch onto you and just like suck your whatever, like your blood stuff and everything.
Yeah, I mean that for me it was just like I was deathly afraid of leeches, and I'd never even seen one or been exposed to one ever before when I was a little kid. Because going camping, I was in places to where leeches weren't a common thing unless you're in like probably one of the most like swampy, dirty areas of that place. Um, but like you're thinking about it as like a little kid who's watched like a bunch of vampire movies and TV shows, like was it one thing that made me like deathly afraid of leeches was like the Spider-Man the animated series that was on Jagex a while
JetX.
back. Yeah, JetX. What I said Jagex. Isn't Jagex like a gaming, like a video game company?
I don't
No,
know.
Jagex. No, Jagex is RuneScape. That's what it was.
Oh, well, that I've never heard of it. Or
Yeah, Jetix was that it was a what's his name, Morpheus or Morbius, whatever his name was, but he had like these weird like suction cups on his palms, and he just like grab onto someone's arm and just drain the life out of him.
was was JetX like Disney XD, or did it used to be what Disney XD was or something? Oh no,
No, I think it
or
was.
okay, yeah, it was a block that aired on Toon Disney, which Toon Disney used to be Disney XD, or no, or is no Disney XD used to be Toon Disney.
I'll take your word for it.
Sorry, I'm just curious. I don't know, because like that's a weird thing. Whenever like something like that is mentioned, again with the whole like when we were talking about Warner Brothers and Legendary, just it's just information that I like to know.
Well,
I
like
don't
I
even
just
know.
remember it having like shows that I really enjoyed. Uh, a big throwback for some people is like Power Rangers SPD. I mean, that was like one of the shows that it was wow, words.
There's a bunch of Power
One of the
Rangers.
shows, yeah, there was Power Rangers, yeah, Power Rangers SPD, and then there was Power Rangers Mystic Force, which came like a little bit later, which was, in my opinion, probably one of the worst Power Rangers series that there was, even though it still caught interest in my own mind to where I was like, you know what? That would actually be kind of cool, sort of.
I,
Have like a magic cell phone.
Power Rangers. I love Power Rangers. Although I don't know how far I watched it overall. I can't remember which series it was that I stopped watching it at. Whichever one was aired like in 2006 was probably when I stopped watching it. Although I
In
don't know.
2006?
Yeah. Although like of course
There,
Power Rangers is still going. So
well, I think like 2006, didn't it have like a couple of Power Ranger shows?
I don't know. Like that's the thing. I gotta look this up now because my interest has been sparked. My favorite one was Dino Thunder.
Dino Thunder was actually pretty legit.
Exactly, because dinosaurs are, again, that's a whole thing. Like, no, you're a kid, you like monsters and dinosaurs and stuff.
There was actually there was a series of Power Rangers to where they actually did a really great transition from one type of Power Rangers into a different type of Power Rangers. And I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like going from Dino Thunder into Ninja Storm, if I remember correctly.
Or I think Ninja Storm came first.
All right.
I don't know, just because I have the list here because I'm trying to figure out what I watched. Okay, no, I started watching during Time Force. So I watched Time Force,
Ooh.
Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, and actually I think SPD is where I stopped.
Yeah. I think I stopped after. I think I stopped like halfway through or a majority of the way through Mystic Force. Because that's when like I saw things becoming a little bit too ridiculous and it
Uh huh.
started to become just like not fun to watch.
Yeah. Although I tried like one of the recent ones, Dino Charge, which that was like 2015. I tried watching a bit of that just because I'm like, man, I want to see what Power Rangers is up to. That oh no, I like that one. It's got a great theme song, I think.
My favorite thing about Power Rangers has been, well, because like if people don't know this is like, um, it originally started in Japan, and how a lot of times with Japanese shows like that, characters have to be very very animated, whether they're it's an animated character, whether it's like a cartoon or it's a live actor. They have to be extremely animated and just super exaggerated with their movements, especially when,
Yeah,
like when they're talking, just bobbing their head up and down.
like yeah, when they're in the suits, they're just that was always really great.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's like how is like your vocal cords aren't bouncing around as you're moving your head so much.
A lot of the older ones, it was that hang on, I'm thinking because it's like Japanese footage from a Japanese show where it's the Rangers in the suits and the big the Megazords and everything. And then when they're human, or not humans, but when they're like people in their daily lives, that's like footage here. And they just smash them together and make a show. I think that was something like that.
Yeah, I think
So
that's what it was, and what was kind of like agreed upon between people in production and those companies was, the American actors would have their own show. It was Power Rangers, but when it came to being in the suits, it was like voiceover from what the Japanese actors had when they were in the suits.
yeah, so the whole thing of like just being really animated in the suit and then dubbing over that,
Yeah.
because yeah, you can't really like record audio straight from the suits.
Well, the thing is, if you watch the original shows, you can basically see where everything connects. But when you watch the American shows, like when you're a kid, you don't really see it. But when you're an adult, like now, it's just like, oh, wow, here's a huge cutoff here.
Yeah, I remember though as a kid, I was like, man, I want to be a Power Ranger. And I realized like if I would have gone into like stunt training or anything, well maybe not stunt training, but acting, because stunt I think of stunts are still. But if I would have gone into like acting and just went more hardcore into that, maybe it could have happened. But I think I'm too old now. I don't know how old are Power Rangers anyway, or at
Well,
least the actors.
a lot of times the actors they had the start of their acting career like when they were like little kids.
See, that's why I can't be a Power Ranger. Why I can't be in the Detective Pikachu movie.
I don't
Well,
know. I mean, you could be
oh,
you could do like an audition, and they could be like, well, you know what, we'll call you back, and they'll probably like throw you in as an extra, or like maybe some like random dude just like walking up like, let's battle.
exactly. I'll take that. Which, well, actually, I don't know. I have been in movies here and there, or like different like again background stuff, and a few auditions for some things here and there. But I'll actually save that till later because that's a whole story on its own. Which actually we brought it full circle. We came back to Detective Pikachu. That's how it started. But anyway, like for the most part, any last things you got? Any last thoughts?
Well, I'm going to be maybe starting to play through some games that I purchased recently, and maybe talk about those.
Nice. There's like a whole lot. I gotta take more advantage of the eShop on the Switch to just play a bunch of those indie games on there.
Indie games are actually really great.
Exactly. They're cool. They're the alternative. But anyway, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed this first episode of the GatorEX podcast. Things are still being worked on, of course. I'm gonna in the future work on better visual graphics here. Hopefully now all the sound and everything, I've got that perfectly all down and balanced and everything. I'm gonna try my best to be a little better in how I talk at least. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. And that's basically how things are going to be. Going to have a rotating cast, give or take. But I think Nurtz more likely is going to be more of a frequent guest than anybody, as our schedules tend to line up a little more, a little better. But if you enjoyed it, go ahead and let us know what you think, and we'll take any questions. Oh, which that's what I forgot. We didn't get a whole lot of questions because I asked them. I asked for questions late, but we'll get to these questions later, and I'll just stockpile all of these, and then we'll answer them like in the next recording or something.
This has been GatorEX. I am his guest, Nurtz, and we'll see you guys next time.
That's a great ending.